Coming up on This Week, Next Week, on the eve of the Golden Slipper, the race most eagerly watched by breeders. Arrowfield's John Messara guests on the show. We'll discuss his thoughts on the race, how the gold and black will be represented on Slipper Day, and some Group 1 performances of Arrowfield stallions of late.
Hello, I'm Ray Thomas and welcome to This Week, Next Week. Corey Brown with me as always. Golden Slipper Week in Sydney, a special race meeting coming up this weekend. Corey, 5 Group 1s at Rose Hill, the most of any race meeting in the Southern Hemisphere.
Biggest race day on the calendar.
Yeah, certainly.
Yes, what a day.
For the purists, yeah.
Isn't it amazing? Like, it only seemed like yesterday that it was Christmas and the 2-year-olds are just, starting out, and now we hit the slipper already. Yeah, well, it sort of gets us all in the mood, doesn't it, these 2-year-old lead-up races. Let's go straight into them from the Coolmore Classic meeting last Saturday, and here's the Pago Stakes. Corey, Skyhawk is into third favouritism for the Golden Slipper. He was dominant on Saturday. He was huge here on the weekend, I thought, Ray, and a great ride by Kieran McAvoy. He's been having a lot of bad luck the last few weeks, drawing bad barriers, and obviously he rode Skyhawk and got stuck in behind him, had no luck, but it was great to see him riding the way that he did, and he was dominant. Like his acceleration from the 200 home was just electric, so providing he pulls up all right, because it was quite hot out there on the weekend, I reckon he's a live chance in the slipper.
Yeah, all reports are he's pulled up well. He's one of the few 2-year-olds to actually win by a margin in these lead-up races. Right. Here's the other lead-up race for the fillies. This is the Magic Night. Mimo had been placed in a number of features, finally breaks through. She was excellent, but the news today is that she will not back up in the Golden Slipper.
It was a deserved win for this filly. She's a little ripper, I reckon. Just to come from off the back of him, run good time. She's an exciting horse. It's not a shame that she's not in the slipper. Obviously, Peter and Nat have got another path for her. But, that was another dominant win there. Not a big margin, but from where she come from, I thought.
Yeah, double for Kieran McAvoy in the 2 features. She might go to the Percy Sykes at Randwick during the championships. Here's the Sky High Stakes. Lindemann was the favourite, but Vauban, the former English stayer, having his first start for Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott, couldn't have been more impressive, Corey.
Super, Ray. And what Adrian and Gay, putting the speed back into these horses' legs. Like him there on the weekend, I nearly put a pen straight through him because in the enclosure, he melted. He's got these, pre-race antics that he does, and he's not the easiest horse to ride. I think he'll be better back at Randwick, but to run the time that he did and to come from off the slow speed, I thought it was terrific.
Yeah, he was very, very good. Here's the Group 2 Far Lap Stakes, and Lazura, she's been trying to match motors without much luck with Lady Shenandoah of Lady of Camelot, but here she is up against... Well, they weren't there, and she was too good.
Yeah, she won the race at the start. Tommy obviously settled her right up outside lead, took the speed out of the race mid-race, and then just pushed the button top in the straight, and she was just too quick for him. Mathematically impossible to get home from behind her, but she was great, and I bet you she was wrapped as well as Tommy that Lady of Camelot and Lady Shenandoah weren't in the race, but yeah, she was big.
Her tactical speed going to give her an advantage in a lot of races. Here's the Group 1 Coolmore Classic, and what more can you say about Lady Shenandoah? She just finds a way to win. 5 starts, 5 wins this season, 3 at Group 1 level.
Absolutely outstanding. I honestly thought the 2, Lady of Camelot and Lady Shenandoah, might have had the stuff and knocked out of them after they had the ding-dong go last time out there at Randwick, but they were just brilliant. Lady of Camelot was probably unlucky. She travelled 3 and 4 deep pretty much the entire, but taking nothing away from the winner, she's a little superstar, I think.
Yeah, whether we see her again this autumn, Corey, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, she's still second favourite for Doncaster, but she's done a job with 2 Group 1s this autumn on the back of the Group 1 in the spring, and she's got a huge future ahead. She's a weight-for-age star in the making next season. Here is the Group 2 Ajax Stakes. And what about the evolution of Iona Merck? A few months ago, he couldn't run 1,200 metres. Here he is winning a 1,500-metre Ajax, and he'll go into the Doncaster now.
And not only that, I know the second horse went with him, but they streaked the rest of them. His stable's just on fire at the moment, Bjorn Baker. He can't do a thing wrong there. They're just... knocking up picket fences.
Yeah, and he's very consistent, this horse, Iona Merck. He's raced all summer now into autumn, long campaign, but going better than ever.
And there's nothing of him.
Yeah, is he? Okay.
A little light little horse, so he does a good job. Big heart.
Let's look at 2 front runners. The first was at Caulfield on Saturday. Great to see Pride of Jenny back. How good was she, Corey?
Oh, she was great. I'm not saying they give it to us. I know she always gets out in front by a margin and leads, but they sat right off, and Froggy knew it. Just had it in his control pretty much the whole race. Zardozi I thought was really, really good. She run through the line really strong, but taking nothing away from the great mare, she's back.
Not too sure where to next with her, but wherever she goes, she's going to be hard to beat. Here's the Country Championships qualifier at Canamble. The first surprise was seeing Gallant Star lob in front. He toyed with him.
Yeah, well, and the shortest price horse to ever go around in one of these races, Ray, I think he's $1.35 or something like that. But yeah, straight to the front.
He's a star.
Made every poster winner. He is a star.
Yeah, part owned by Kerry O'Keefe, the former Australian Test cricket, and he'll now go to the Country Championships. And I dare say he is the horse to beat in the big
Yeah,
race.
I think so. Like the way that was like a track gallop there for him on the weekend, Ray.
Well, Corey, let's go back to Rose Hill last Saturday because it was a great day for Arrowfield Stud. They had 3 of the big race winners, including Lady Shenandoah, in the Group 1 Coolmore Classic. And Arrowfield's boss, John Messara, joins us on This Week, Next Week. John, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, both of you.
John, thanks for joining us and congratulations, 3 of those big race winners, as I said, all graduates of Arrowfield Stud. Let's look at Lady Shenandoah. She's been outstanding this season. I've called her racing's Miss Perfect. 5 starts, 5 wins, and she's hard to fault.
Yeah, she's pretty special. To have done what she's done in that short period of time is amazing. She's still only, sort of halfway through her 3-year-old season, and she's got 3 Group 1s behind her.
And
so it's fantastic.
And she's nowhere near the finished product yet. We know that, John. But I'll be really honest. I thought after the really hard run that both her and Lady of Camelot had to start before when they went head and head, I honestly thought they might have been a slight bit flat, but wasn't the case there on the weekend. Gee, she was good again.
Yeah, she's just amazing. She's pretty perfect, Ray, as you say. She can come home. She's got the speed. She's got everything you need. Great attitude and a will to win, which they've all got to have, haven't they?
And John, another of the Arrowfield graduates was very impressive in the Pago Stakes, and that was Skyhook.
Interestingly, Dean McCaskill, who's our yearling manager, owns 5% of him. So it's got a lot of interest for us this coming weekend. He loved the horse when he was offering him for sale, and approached Gerald to see if there was any equity left, and he bought 5% of the horse. So we've got a real continuing interest in that horse. And well, he's done nothing wrong, has he? He probably should have won the previous start as well, if you look at the race.
He is a lovely horse, John. Like there on the weekend, even though he was at home, he's still quite new when he walks around the enclosure. But what I loved was the ride. Kieran McAvoy just took all the guesswork out of the picture. He wasn't having any bad luck there on the weekend, getting back in behind him, and just the acceleration to travel like he wasn't running real fast times, but he wasn't running slow times. But his acceleration from the 200 home was electric.
Yeah, and it shows that he'll probably get a longer distance. I mean, he'd probably be a 1,400 to a mile, I'd say. And he's out of a Starcraft mare, and that makes a bit of sense.
And Lazura was the other graduate from Arrowfield to win, and she scored a deserved win in the Group 2 Far Lap Stakes. And this is a race, John, that Chris Waller's used over the last decade to launch 8 of his very best fillies to win this Group 2 Far Lap. The previous 7 have all been Group 1 winners, and I dare say on the evidence of this win, there's a Group 1 in Lazura soon as well.
Yeah, she's been thereabouts in a number of races, and she showed her class on Saturday. I was thrilled for the owners. They're good customers of Arrowfield, and I was thrilled to see them get a result like this. No, there's plenty to come from her, I'd say, over the next year.
Yeah, I think Tommy and Lazura were both stoked that Lady of Camelot and Lady of Shenandoah weren't in the field. She didn't have to try and chase them, but she was electric there, and it was basically mathematically impossible for anything to come off her back because she run sort of fairly soft sectionals down the back, and once she got into the straight and Tommy pushed the button, she was electric as well.
Yeah, tremendous, really, and showed good versatility. She's going to be figuring in more group races than what we've seen so far.
And John, what about Snitzel? I know he's been so good to the farm. You've built 2 statues there, I feel, one of Redout's Choice, the other is of his son Snitzel, and as I said earlier, he just keeps on keeping on. We sired another 5 Group 1 winners this season. Lady Shenandoah has won 3 of those. He may not be serving the huge books he was, say, 10 years ago, but he's still very active and he's still producing these outstanding racehorses.
He's an amazing horse, Ray. we built the farm on the back of Reduce, and we've improved it on the back of Snitzel. They've been wonderful, servants of Arrowfield, and, they're very hard horses to replace. Snitzel's 23 now, so we've got to treat him with a level of gentility because he's an old fellow like me. And he's still serving, though. He still has, he's still got plenty of vigour in the covering barn. And he serves smaller books, Ray, than he has in the past. But he's still keen, and hopefully he'll continue this year because the quality of his bloodstock certainly hasn't dropped. It's as good as it's ever been.
John, what sort of numbers would he be serving?
It'll be between 75 and 100.
Okay.
Probably closer to 75, Corey.
Yep.
Now, he used to serve 150 in the old days. We won't want to serve him more than twice a day, max. In the old days, he'd serve 3 or 4 times a day when necessary.
He's been an amazing stallion. One of your younger stallions that's really emerging on the scene is Castelvecchio, and last Friday he gave Arrowfield the first of their 4 stakes winners over the weekend. This filly, Verona Rose, a daughter of Castelvecchio, 3 starts, 3 wins, wins the Kembla Grange Classic. An unbelievable performance this for John from such an inexperienced filly, and she's now heading towards the Group 1 Binary Stud Stakes.
Yeah, she came from last, it was amazing, and withering finish. The thing about that breed, the Castelvecchios, they're tough. You get a good one, it'll be a real good one. You've seen that with El Castello and a couple of the others. He's starting to really assert himself. Interestingly, Super Seth in New Zealand, who's another son of Dundeel, is also making it now. He's got a couple of Group 1 winners. So 2 sons of Dundeel, one in Australia, one in New Zealand, beginning to become proper stallions. Very interesting for Dundeel himself that his sons are doing this as well.
And they're all staying types, John. Like she run through the line there the other day, like another 200 metres, she would have, been 50 metres in front of him, but she's just strong through the line.
Well, remember Castelvecchio ran second in that famous Cox Plate. I mean, he had all but won it until the Japanese filly came and swamped him at the end. He beat all the Australian horses in the race. So, don't worry about them staying. I reckon if they want to make a stayer out of it, she'll certainly get the ground.
Yeah, she's a very talented filly. And John, one of the reasons we wanted to get you on tonight, not just to bask in the glory of Arrowfield's graduates last Saturday, but to give our viewers an update on Autumn Glow, who might just be racing's Miss Perfect 2.0 because she's only had the 3 starts, the 3 wins, but she's been out of sight, out of mind. But do we see her on Saturday in the Derby Munro Stakes at Rosehill?
As far as my latest information is concerned, you will be seeing her on Saturday. I booked a table and I'll be there. Her work at the races, the exhibition gallop last Thursday between races was impressive, and I think Chris was very happy with it, and so was J Mac. So I think she'll be taking her place on Saturday in the Derby Munro, and that'll be her opening stanza for what might come a bit later on.
Out of sight, out of mind. I'm not sure about that race. She might have been out of sight, but not out of mind.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but no, she is some.
I think about her every day, Corey.
No, I can't wait to see her back because what she obviously showed in a short career so far, and just that hype when Lady Shenandoah's come out and done what she's done, and the whisper is that obviously Autumn Glow's mine are, not a lot better.
Going into the Flight Stakes, Autumn Glow was odds-on favourite,
correct.
and Lady Shenandoah was second favourite, and then of course she had to be pulled out on race morning.
That's right. So I can't wait to see her on Saturday. Super excited.
Look, it's not a top grade race. I think it's a listed race, but it's a good opener. She has been out of commission for a few months, and the first couple of months she virtually, was in a box for a month and in a small yard for a month. So she got pretty fat inside, and it's taken a while to get her fit. Chris is now happy with the condition, and away we start on Saturday.
Very excited, like Corey is, to see her again. She's a daughter of the Autumn son, who's also doing great things at Stud, but he had a little mishap last winter and you had to miss the spring breeding season with the Autumn Sun. How is the young stallion now, John, and will he be back serving mares this coming spring breeding season?
Yeah, he has. We've done all that we had to do according to the vets, and he's not lame in any way. You couldn't pick that he had the injury that he had. He'll have some further X-rays in the month of April, just to sign off. And once that's completed, I think we start preparing for the season. The vets are very confident that he'll serve a normal season coming up this year.
Well, he's such a young stallion, he's got time on his side and he's doing great things already at start. Just finally, John, Clear Thinking, probably the best bred mare in Australia. What's the latest with her? She's been stakes placed this autumn. We know she's very good. There's a big race win in her somewhere along the Autumn Carnival.
Yeah, we think the same, Ray. She was a little disappointing last start, but we put it down to the fact that she never switched leads in the straight, when she turned, and she was on the same leg all the way and didn't quite accelerate or got tired towards the end of the race rather than she did accelerate but got tired. So if we can get past that in the next race, I think you'll see her back to her original form. And I think she might be good enough, certainly good enough to win a group race of some kind and maybe beyond that. But we'll see more after this next start.
Where is the next start, John? Do you know yet?
Well, one of the races we're looking at, Paul's fairly convinced that she's a sprinter, 1,300 metre sprinter. Some of us think that on pedigree, etc., she should be able to get a bit further than that. So, which race? We're looking at the...
Is it the Emancipation?
What's the race I'm thinking of? Yeah. There's a 1,500 metre race.
Is it the Emancipation Stakes, John?
Emancipation Stakes. Yeah. That's what we're looking at for her next start, but it's not locked in totally. We'll see how she works and whether we bring her back to a shorter distance race. But she's going to run again in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
She's exciting too. Look, John, I'm looking forward to seeing Autumn Glow back at the races this weekend. Hopefully this tremendous run of Arrowfield Stud continues. Thanks so much for joining us on This Week, Next Week, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you, Ray. Thanks, Corey.
Good on you, John.
There's John Messara, Arrowfield, having a great run. And you're right, Corey, shouldn't forget about Autumn Glow because she was the #1 filly in the spring, wasn't she?
She was the pin-up, yep.
Yes. So we'll see you this weekend in the Derby Munro Stakes. Of course, it is Golden Slipper Day this Saturday. We'll think back 12 months and how good was she, Lady of Camelot, being the boys in a thrilling Golden Slipper.
Lady of Camelot behind them, 3 lengths away to Switzerland, and wide out Coleman running on. Storm Boy's got the run on the inside. Coleman wide out with Lady of Camelot. It's Coleman, Lady of Camelot. Coleman ahead in front to Lady of Camelot. Coleman, Lady of Camelot. The lady dives and Lady of Camelot got up. Lady of Camelot, a spectacular win in the Golden Slipper.
Golden lady, I'd like to go there.
Welcome back to This Week, Next Week. As we mentioned earlier in the show, 5 Group 1 races at Rosehill Gardens this Saturday, Golden Slipper Day. It's a massive day, and to get all the latest betting, Tim Ryan's joins us now. Tim, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Ray. Really looking forward to Saturday. The Tab Golden Slipper, the biggest betting race of the autumn. And the barrier draw tomorrow, 11 a.m, is going to go a long way into deciding who runs favourite. Woden is the current favourite. He probably shouldn't be favourite on form, but he's the biggest liability I can remember heading into a Golden Slipper. So he's there as a $4.50 chance in front of Tempted. Firms today for Skyhook, 5K at $8, sees him in at $7 chance. And Rivellino, $2,000 at $11, and he firms up to now a $9 chance. The George Ryder, Fangirl and Charles Wolf, they likely won't have to face Via Sistina on Saturday. She likely runs in the Rambit, and they're dominating the betting there. Royal Patronage, another one high up in the betting at $6. Tom Kitten, does he come back to Sydney on the path to a Doncaster? We'll wait and see. Via Sistina, she's very short in the Rambit, $1.50. What lines up against her? William Haggis has nominated Dubai Honour at $4.50 and Alma Beer at $8 as $8 chances. Fangirl in there is doubtful. Of course, she likely heads to the rider. A couple of imports there, 2 for Waller, also nominated. $2.80 about Private Harry in the Galaxy. He's a little bit borderline to get in. I've got him 18th, they run 14, but expect a few to drop out. He probably just sneaks in, and he's the second best back runner on the program behind Wotan in the Golden Slipper. Briasa also high up there in betting as a $4.50 chance. Broadsiding, he's pretty short in the Rosehill Guineas. He's an even money chance. Gold Rush Guru, the VSC Derby winner, up from Melbourne, $3.50. Swift Falcon, a $4.50 chance. And Aliana, a bit of doubt whether she runs there or waits for the Vinery next week. Linebacker, the $6 outright favourite in the Doncaster. We've made Lady Shenandoah doubtful at $8. And that All-Star Mile form featuring heavily there. Another Will and Tom Kitten, both $8 chances in the Doncaster. The TJ Smith, it's pretty open. Jolly Star continues to be well backed off the back of that Newmarket win, $4.50 there, and Private Harry has plenty of supporters at $6. Not a lot of change to that market after Saturday, but we'll see what happens this weekend with the Galaxy. The Australian Derby, will he do it? Still your $3.50 favourite. A firm on Saturday for King of Thunder, 11 into 8 after winning at Rosehill. Then moving on to the Queen Elizabeth Stakes on the last day of the carnival. Fiercest dinner and even money chance, but Pride of Jenny, she's a big firm. She was $26 earlier in the week last week. She was 15 into 8 after winning on Saturday. Sets up a great clash.
Which horse are you taking on this weekend, Tim?
Yeah, I have to take on the promising Private Harry. $2.80 seems very short for this horse in a Group 1. I know it's a handicap he'll get in with a lightweight, but that's rock bottom odds and a lot of hype factored into that price.
Thanks so much, Tim. Well, plenty happening in New South Wales racing during the week, leading into Golden Slipper Day at Rosehill. On Tuesday, we're racing at Hawkesbury. On Wednesday, we'll be at Wyong. Thursday, there's a provincial midway qualifier at Newcastle, also racing at Albury. On Friday, it's Albury Cup Day, along with Scone, which has the first of the Country Championships wildcards. On Saturday, Rosehill for Golden Slipper Day. Kembla Grange has a provincial midway qualifier. Goulburn on Sunday has the other wildcard for the Country Champs. We're also racing at Orange. Corey, this is one of the great race days in Australian racing and so much to look forward to. Which is the one horse you'd like to be on this weekend?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with Timmy again. I'm going to go Private Harry. I think he's a really nice horse in the making, so we're on, Tim.
Beware the unbeaten horse, eh?
That's it.
Yeah, he's very, very good, Private Harry, in the Galaxy. For mine, I'm going with Broadsiding. I think he can bounce back in the Rosehill Guineas. On behalf of Corey Brown and I, good luck on Golden Slipper Day. Thanks for joining us on This Week, Next Week, and we'll see you next Monday.